Tonight, action after public calls for greater police accountability. The Department of Justice now says it will now allow some police officers to wear body cameras while serving on federal task forces. It is an update to a Reveal investigation. Investigator Rebecca Lindstrom raised questions about the lack of transparency for several years. Rebecca, does that change mean anything right away?
Well, think FBI, DEA, and U.S. Marshals Service. These federal agencies partner with local police to serve arrest warrants and catch fugitives. But the Atlanta Police Department pulled out earlier this year after one of its officers shot and killed Jimmy Atchison while serving on one of those teams. His family is suing both city and federal agencies. And even though APD mandates body cameras, the officer wasn't wearing one because federal task forces don't allow them. But we've been raising questions about that policy since 2016 after U.S. Marshals shot Jamarian Robinson 59 times. Questions have swirled around the use of force, and video taken by a witness outside seems to conflict with statements made by officers inside. Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard told us during our investigation that has made it difficult to decide whether to charge the officers involved.
The gun that they recovered did not work, but they actually stated that he shot at them 3 times, so that's why they opened fire on him.
If we had that body cam, a lot of the issues that have been raised about that case would go away. But that videotape doesn't exist.
Obviously, still a lot of questions. The DOJ has yet to tell me what cities will participate in this pilot or how long it will last, only that it starts tomorrow. I do know Atlanta is not one of those cities involved. APD says it was unclear if the DOJ would allow them to share body camera video with the public, an important part of that department's transparency. Jeff?
And a reminder, you can watch Rebecca's original investigation, 76 Bullets and a Mother's Quest for Justice, in the Reveal section on 11atlive.com.